Thank you, Grace, and good afternoon, everyone. I am glad to be here to thank all of the frontline community members and environmental advocacy organizations who are here to share their stories and help raise the alarm about the devastating impacts of the proposed CP2 LNG project in Southwest Louisiana. Across the nation, communities are feeling the impacts of the climate crisis as extreme weather events increase in frequency and severity. And it's historically marginalized populations, predominantly communities of color, indigenous communities, and low-income communities that are disproportionately impacted by our worsening climate. And these communities face serious environmental injustices, including higher concentrations of air and water pollution, increased rates of cancer and respiratory illnesses, and the destruction of their ecosystems that exacerbate existing disparities. As a member of the Armed Services Committee, I just also had a debate with my colleagues across the aisle, including in landlocked states, about the impact that climate change is having on military readiness. It's having an impact on our economy. It's having an impact on healthcare. It's having an impact on everything. And it is past time that we address not only these impacts, but the long-standing inequities and take immediately decisive action to curb the climate crisis. To do so, we must reduce our reliance on fossil fuels and transition to cleaner, more sustainable energy sources. We must meet the urgency of this moment. As the first Black woman to represent Virginia in Congress, I am committed to uplifting the voices of historically underrepresented communities and ensuring they have a say in the decisions that impact their daily lives. And as you will hear today, community members on the front lines are urging FERC to reject the CP2 LNG proposal. As a mother, I'm fighting to curb climate change so that my children, Jackson and Samantha, can grow up and thrive in a healthy, livable environment. LNG export terminals will set us back in our continued fight to address the climate crisis, and we cannot allow for their unfettered expansion, which will lock us into increased greenhouse gas emissions for decades to come. We need to build on the progress of the Biden-Harris administration and the hard work of congressional Democrats to continue accelerating our transition to a clean energy future. To that end, last year I led over 60 of my colleagues in calling on the Department of Energy to update its public interest determination process for LNG exports. We specifically called on the department to incorporate economic, environmental, climate, and public health considerations in that process. And the Biden-Harris administration answered the call, pausing all new LNG export application approvals until that process was updated. It was an important step in the fight for climate action, but we cannot stop there. We need to step back from the new LNG investments and drastically reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Approval of CP2 will set us back in those efforts, as the new export terminal is expected to add up to 190 million tons of CO2 each year at full capacity. Now more than ever, we must continue our momentum towards a greener, more sustainable energy infrastructure. The future of our planet depends on it. I want to thank again all of the environmental advocacy groups and frontline members who are here today. And with that, I will hand it back to Grace.